Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in about that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
McSherman is a demon.
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. Please let me know if you can hear me. Hello to all my moderators and everybody in chat. It's good to see you. Bethany, Jen's here, Shelly, Zoe. Hey guys, Being Bio Girl, Paula's here, Johnny's here, Debbie Fox, Melly, good to see you. Hey Sherry. If I missed you guys, just gonna get into this train wreck. So if you are here for the train wreck and you are ready to fall down this Gypsy Rose rabbit hole with us again, just to watch, the drama unfold, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for being here. So if anyone has been following my coverage on Gypsy, it very much started with giving her the benefit of the doubt, really hoping the best for her when she got out of prison, really feeling for her as a victim. I really felt that she was abused by her mother, and it was just an unfortunate series of events that took place. Unfortunately, 2 lives were lost that night. Dee Dee's life, she should have been reprimanded instead of murdered for her actions against her daughter. And of course, Nick, who had the choice to follow through with the crime or not, he chose to, but it's still unfortunate that he is spending the rest of his life in prison. And then things just started kind of unraveling for me. And, watching her reality TV show, she likes to call it a docuseries, whatever you want to call it. Her marriage with Ryan, everything that just kind of unfolded, the drama with Ken. I just started to see a little bit of a manipulative side to her. And I'm open to the idea that perhaps she had more involvement in the crime itself, and perhaps that she has been manipulating Ryan, her father, her family. And so basically, I've just kind of looked at the case differently than when I first started following this case. So that's kind of where we're at. So we will look at some of her stuff. Today, she posted on TikTok. So we will start there. And then actually her father was on, I don't know if it was a podcast or a TikTok or whatever, but it's been shared, his little interaction with somebody that they had a falling out with. Her name was Fancy. And I'll get into that as well. So let's start with her TikTok that she posted today. So basically what we're doing is we're just kind of re-looking at things with Gypsy. I'm not somebody that's always stuck in my ways and I can't change my mind. So that's just where we're at. I'm open to even the idea that perhaps she wasn't abused. I'm not there yet. I know a lot of people have pointed me in directions of channels to watch and all this stuff. Even this Fancy person who we're going to hear talk to her father. I mean, they have a history with each other, legal and just, personal problems with each other. So her opinion, in my opinion, is a little bit biased. So I'm not 100% on board with everything Fancy has to say to Rod. We'll get there. So this was posted today.
Hey everybody. So I am 16 weeks pregnant as of today, and it's been a minute since I checked on the heartbeat. So I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to check on the heartbeat. Let's see if we can find it. All right, speed up my little Doppler. My baby likes to rest on my left side, so I've been able to find the heartbeat easily on the left side. Let me speed this up a little. There it is. Comfortably on my left side, just like I said. All right, thank y'all so much for watching my video. Bye.
So again, that was today's little update. We hope the best for her and her baby. We've said it before, it's either going to make or break her. And, we obviously don't wish her ill will, especially with a baby involved. But there's just a lot of questions surrounding, what is she going to do? Is she going to exploit this child? Yada, yada. She's claiming that there's going to be another season that's going to follow her pregnancy, but she doesn't want to share the child once it's born. So we're all just sitting back wondering, like, what the heck's going to happen. Yeah, Melanie says, I'm worried for that baby. Me too, because I just, honestly, there's something about Ken that I just don't trust or like. I really think that he's in it for the fame and the money. Everything that I've seen about him seems like he's a moocher and he's a bum. He lives with his mother. I keep the rumors about him dating men out of it. Like, that's, I don't know. There's people who have come forward that said, yes, I saw him on Grindr, which is like Tinder, but for gay men. It almost makes me wonder, like, so is he just really faking all this for the money? Like, I just don't know. I have questions. I really do. Yeah, she seems like a child herself. I agree. So, who the father is. Apparently, everyone's saying that it's Ken's, this guy on screen. But we shall see. We definitely shall see, because he has even said, I know that's the thing. It's like, she's somebody that I can't, like, look away from. Like, I have to just, like, okay, what is she doing now? Like, I feel like I watch her like like on the outside of a fish tank. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, what is she doing? And then, the whole dynamic with her stepmother, Christy, kind of pushing her to get back with Ken, even though she was married to Ryan. Like, it's just all very bizarre. And I'm sorry, guys, I still have a little bit of congestion from my sickness, so I might not sound 100%. But hello, Dustin, and everyone else. Allison, good to see you. Everyone who's joined, thanks so much for being here. So these are just little clips from TikToks that have been screen recorded and shared on Facebook. This is Ken speaking. So let's hear what Ken has to say. We haven't watched these little updates since before I went on vacation. So let's see what Ken has to say here.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the interview that I did that came out in the most recent episode was, it's nerve-wracking. I mean, my very first time, not just on camera, but like 2 camera guys, a sound guy, another camera guy, an interviewer, all these people surrounding me. It's a little nerve-wracking. So yeah, I mean, it's wild. But guys, thanks for joining us. We're very excited. We're very happy. Today's been a great day. It's been a great week. We're both very excited. We've got an incredible future laid out for us. And baby's mine. All right. Sorry, Javi, but I am. The math is math, and you just don't know how to do it. All right, I'm done. I'll see you guys later. Is it weird seeing myself on TV? Yeah, of course.
I just get like disingenuous vibes from him. Of course, I don't know him personally. I only know him through things that I've seen, like on TikToks and stuff. And everything that you see that kind of pops up on his face, the emojis and stuff, that is people sending them money. So he's on TikTok speaking about his time on the show and how weird it was with the cameras. And I just think that it's all an act. I think that he wanted on the show. In fact, in the first season, the producers kind of make a little disclaimer and say that Ken reached out to them and, you know, wanted to say his side. So they didn't even contact Ken. He contacted them and was like, hey, I'd like to, you know, say my side to things. Now, the thing about him is, like, if he's lying about dating men, like, why? You know, just own it. Just say, like, I date men and women. I'm interested in Gypsy. But he has denied it. I guess he's even reached out to a female who she had like a feud with, saying, oh, my man would never touch you with a 10-foot pole. And he denied reaching out to her, like, in a flirtatious way. Just very, very strange. Hello, Angie, and everyone else who's joined. Let's not say anything bad about his sexuality. The only thing that I will say is bad is if he's lying about it and just kind of putting on a front. So anything in chat that's kind of like not so nice, please just remove the comment. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I don't want my place to be a place where you kind of bash things. So the only thing that I want to bash is if he's lying. You know, it is what it is, whatever he wants. I hope you guys understand my opinion on that. So I just feel like here he's just lying about being weird on camera, because he reached out to the producers and said he wanted to share his side. And then when he says the baby's mine, the math is math, and you just don't know how to do it, I'm to the point where I'm like, even if they did a DNA test, I feel like they would just lie about the results. Like, if it was Ryan's or if it was another man's, not Ken's, like, I feel like they would just still put on this show that it's Ken's child and that they would just continue the charade. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So let's see what the next clip says. Yeah, it doesn't matter who Ken dates. The fact is active. If he is active on dating sites, wrecked a marriage and conceived a child with Gypsy, doesn't exactly communicate commitment. Exactly. And thank you for summing that up. Thank you. You said that perfectly. All right, so let's see. This one's titled sorry, I got so many tabs open. Gypsy Rose's ex Ryan goes off on her baby daddy Ken during a TikTok live, calling him out for not working. So this is, you know, just more things that I think is suspicious about Ken. What are his intentions? What is he bringing to the table? Apparently he has no job. And he's just sitting on TikTok, you know, putting out his side of things and going on this reality show, putting out his side and, you know, just eating up the money and the fame. He had said numerous times in that reality show, I never thought that Gypsy's fame would blow up like this. Like, he's made that comment more than once. And it's like, why are you so hyper focused on her fame and attention? Like, you want some of it, clearly.
Punk. You just gonna live off Gypsy forever? Punk.
Ryan Scott Anderson goes off on Gypsy's baby daddy Ken Urker during a TikTok live stream.
He said, are you just going to live off Gypsy forever? And over here, Gypsy's just eating it up. She's thinking they're living this like fantasy world. They're in the honeymoon stage. Oh, he loves me, blah, blah, blah. He left you while you were in prison before you even got out. He didn't give you a real explanation why. You get out, you get married, and then he's in contact with your stepmother saying, well, I had to let her go so that she could grow and become herself without me. No, you're reaching out to her through the stepmother after the fact that you've seen her fame blow up. It's just sketchy. Yeah, it doesn't work in this economy? Exactly. It's just like, and then I hear he lives at home. He's in his 30s. Like, what's going on here? Sounds like Stephen Stearns. Jen, thank you so much. Gifted 5 memberships. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you so much for doing that. And welcome to everyone who was gifted a membership. Thank you so much. If you're able to thank Jen, she is in chat right now, and that would be greatly appreciated.
You think you about to be a daddy, but you ain't got no damn job? What a joke.
He goes on to allegedly reveal how Ken is affording to pay the rent on his own house.
Still asking Gypsy to pay your rent, huh? Yeah.
But later, apologizes to his followers for getting mad during the stream.
And yeah, I said it. I'm sorry. I got mad. But dude's a punk. Get a job.
Ryan went on to explain how he isn't going to speak about him anymore.
I don't want to talk about him because, I don't want them to be like, can you believe what Ryan said? And they try to come back at me. I don't need none of that.
The feud comes after Gypsy and Ken revealed they're getting a DNA test for their unborn baby.
Are we going to get a DNA test? We're going to have to.
Gypsy's partner Ken confirmed during a TikTok live stream that the couple will be getting a DNA test for their unborn child to prove he is the dad. He goes on to reveal that he's not worried about it though, following fans' hope that the baby is Ryan's. And now Gypsy is asking fans for help. She shared an expensive baby registry list with items worth thousands of dollars. Following the influencer's surprise pregnancy announcement, Gypsy shared a link to her Instagram and TikTok of a wish list where she requested fans buy her items for the baby. Included in these items are a $600 pram, $529 cot, and a $270 baby swing, despite her allegedly having an estimated net worth of over $3 million. One fan took to Twitter to share their thoughts. I ride for Gypsy Rose, but how is she going to make a public baby registry? Have people buy it out, then add more to it, and she's only 11 weeks pregnant. Whilst another noticed that fans had already allegedly started spending their money on the star. With the soon-to-be mom gearing up for motherhood, here's how she announced the news.
I am 11 weeks pregnant.
Gypsy Rose is pregnant and expecting her first baby with boyfriend Ken Urker.
Ken and I are expecting our very first child come January of 2025.
The 32-year-old star of Life After Lockup is going to be a mom.
We're both very excited. This was not planned at all. It was completely unexpected.
Gypsy shared the exciting news in a heartfelt video posted on her YouTube channel.
The baby looks healthy, happy. It's still going to be a long journey ahead, but I'm up for it.
Later in the video, Blanchard takes a moment to address some burning questions from her followers.
There are going to be people that feel like I'm not ready to be a mother. And I don't know if anyone's really ready to become a mother.
Gypsy got emotional about the opportunity of being a loving mother to her child.
You have to make sure that you protect, you love, you take care of, and all of the things that I wished I could have had when I was little.
And Gypsy's surprising news comes just over 3 months after she filed for divorce from ex Ryan Anderson and subsequently began dating Ken again after their initial 2018 engagement.
I was in a marriage that I wasn't happy with.
Gypsy Rose has opened up about her relationship with ex-partner Ryan Scott for the first time since their online feud.
I personally think that she didn't give the marriage a chance. I mean, let's face it, she hasn't even been out of prison for 6 months, right? She didn't give the marriage a chance because if you watch the show, her stepmother is communicating with Ken behind Gypsy's back, behind Ryan's back. Even Ryan was like, I don't understand why your stepmom is, contacting him, why he's lingering in the background. And so she starts putting things in Gypsy's head, like he still cares about you. He's asking about you. It was just plain wrong. It was just plain wrong, in my opinion. It is a crazy soap opera. And the thing is too, if she wasn't tied to this crime if she wasn't somebody who, spent time behind bars, was connected to this horrific murder, I wouldn't spend 2 seconds on her. But she's one of the only people that we can follow in true crime who has gone through the process of prison and has gotten out that we can follow up on. And the fact that social media is around nowadays for it all has made it even more I don't know, for me, it's more of something I just can't look away from, because I'm like, she's everywhere. She's on TikTok. She's on YouTube. People are talking about her everywhere. And then they're bringing up the history of her involvement in the crime. And it's really got me thinking, because like I said before, she's just been, in my mind, a victim, unfortunate event, a series of unfortunate events. And then I started to open my mind to, you know what, maybe she wasn't in the bathroom that night covering her ears and totally, oblivious to what Nick was doing. We know through the text messages that she kind of directed him, persuaded him, and kind of planned this whole thing. That in itself is awful enough. She spent almost 10 years behind bars. I was willing to say she did her time, leave her be, let her live her life, wish her the best. And then the more I start seeing her, the more I'm like, the way that she was manipulating her family against Ryan, kind of spinning Ryan's own words, gaslighting him. I was just like, oh, I could see, look at the way she treats these men. Look at the way it started to make me realize, the way that she treated Nick, who killed her mother. It's just, to me, it was wrong. Yeah, I think it is a filter. Being Bio Girl said, I never thought she stayed in the bedroom. She was happy with Ryan in prison. Sad. Yeah, I feel bad for him. Very wrong. You can't make this stuff up. I don't care. I wouldn't trust her around any kids. Right. I know. And it's like, and I agree with this. I think that Christy should not have been involved with Ken. I agree. Grift, just like her mom, in my opinion. And we'll get into all that too. She just wanted Ken. Why did she even get married? Because people will say, well, she needed a place to stay. Her father and stepmother had a whole bedroom for her. They wanted her to come stay with them. So I just don't know about that. There's something detached with her. Just looking at your guys' comments before I continue. Ken took her to the Ritz for her birthday dinner, by the way. Huh? I didn't hear about that. Her birthday was what, mid-July? A couple weeks ago? And comments that Ken has made in TikTok live streams and stuff is that, it almost seems like she's stringing him along. She doesn't know how babies are made. Right. She acts like, oh, we didn't plan this. I had no idea that I would be able to have a child. What? Why would you think that? There's no way that lady has $3 million. Apparently she does. The reason why I like following this, though, is like I've said, we follow true crime here. Hi, Roxanne. Good to see you. And Gypsy is just one of those rare cases that we get to follow where we get to see her after her life in prison. We want to believe that people can rehabilitate themselves when they get out of prison. And now we're seeing it happen right in front of our eyes on social media. So that's why we are following it here. So.
Started a YouTube channel. Her first video was a fan Q&A where she revealed the first thing she did that made her the happiest once she got her independence was ending things with Ryan.
And I divorced Ryan. I filed for divorce and I followed my heart to true love. I felt like I made that choice as a free woman. I made that choice as an independent woman.
The former convicted felon went on to reveal how happy she is being in a relationship with Ken.
I knew that my heart was elsewhere. And so I followed that. And I'm happy. I'm very happy. That's the happiest, this is the happiest that I've ever been in my entire life.
But what happened between Gypsy and Ryan, which led to the reality TV star choosing to be with Ken?
Dang, a lot's happened. A lot has happened.
Gypsy Rose and ex-husband Ryan continue to feud since their split. Now, the former convict turned social media superstar has stirred the pot as she comments some alarming revelations on Ryan's post. Ryan hopped on TikTok to grace his followers with some new facial hair.
I've grown this out. You can see it's really dark. I didn't think I could ever grow one out like.
I do have to put in my 2 cents. I do think he looks better with the facial hair. Just saying. And yes, the way that she behaved directly after the crime was deeply disturbing. Having sex with the dead body right there. And I agree with this. She has wanted to get pregnant since Nick. It's true.
He's also made a cryptic post to his fans, revealing how difficult life's been for him lately.
Dang, a lot's happened. A lot has happened. Everybody wants me to tell my side, and that's all I can say right now.
He also referenced his dog, Pixie, which he adopted with Gypsy Rose when the two were still together.
Just hanging out, me and Pixie.
Gypsy caught wind of the video and shocked fans by replying to the video, saying, "Funny how all you post is her, and then you text how you want to dump her off on someone else. People will see who you really are soon."
And I think that that's so ironic that she said that, because you acted like you wanted this dog. You actually got in an argument with Ryan on your show saying, when he said, like, you know, dogs are a lot of responsibility. Oh, don't treat me like a child. That's how my mother would treat me. And then you abandon the dog in the marriage. And then you try to flip it on Ryan on social media, leaving a public comment saying, you know, people will see who you really are soon. It's ironic because I think that people are starting to see who Gypsy really is, personally. If this is your first live stream, we have gone in on Ryan and stuff in previous live streams. So obviously nobody's perfect in any of this. But this is about Gypsy. A lot of people feel that way keenly. I'll say it again. She got a very sweet plea deal. That's for sure.
With, "I am thinking of giving her to an actual family, like I wanted with you." Gypsy is yet to respond to Ryan's plea. Regardless, this isn't the first time she's been caught in drama with her exes. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was recently seen holding hands with one of her exes. Spotted together attending a music festival alongside her family, Gypsy was photographed getting up close and intimate with her ex-partner, Ken Urker. Witnessed by eagle-eyed fans, Ken couldn't keep his hands off Gypsy, holding her close as they swayed to the music. The pictures captured them in intimate moments, gazing into each other's eyes, sparking speculation about their relationship with each other. While sources suggest Gypsy is enjoying her single life, it seems there still may be a spark between these former flames. However, it seems that Gypsy's estranged husband, Ryan Anderson, reportedly wants to reconcile and rebuild their marriage. There has been no confirmation regarding Gypsy's relationship status, but this isn't the first time she has been caught getting close to Ken.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard was allegedly spotted getting a matching tattoo with her ex-fiancé, following her recent separation from husband Ryan Anderson. In photos obtained by TMZ, it appears that the internet sensation is in the tattoo chair with her ex Ken Urker. It was reported that the two were seen getting matching husky dogs on the lower arms so that when they put their arms together, the huskies face each other. But who is her old flame Ken Urker? TMZ reported that Ken reached out to Gypsy after watching her HBO doc, Mommy Dead and Dearest, while she was in prison, and later, he popped the question in October 2018.
Another red flag about Ken is the fact that he really only reached out to Gypsy after seeing that documentary movie or whatever about her. It's like you could argue, like, perhaps he was just kind of drawn in by, you know, the dramatic story and her, I don't know, just the movie aspect of it. Like, he sees her as, you know, this girl that was in that movie. And it's like, that's not who she really is. Like, you know, there's so many layers to her. And I think that he dumped her when he realized, like, you know, I'm out here, I want to date other people. And then as soon as she gets out and she gets all this fame and money, all of a sudden he comes back. It's just very red flag to me. How old is Gypsy? I believe she's 30. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think she just turned 30. Oh, no, you didn't upset me. I'm just saying, like, we have gone in about my views on Ryan and all that. Ultimately, no one is perfect in this situation. I just feel like he's kind of been dragged through the mud a bit by Gypsy and manipulated by her. Ultimately. And thank you for being here still. And again, I do agree with different perspectives. I definitely appreciate them all. I just ultimately, I just really feel bad for him. I think that she treated him like she treated Nick, manipulating him, and she still is. Gypsy Rose used Ryan. That's how I feel too. But I'm also not convinced that no one is using Gypsy. Like, I think Ken is using her for sure.
People magazine spoke to Urker's mother about the two and their relationship, but she stated they are not back together. They're very cool. Ken is just being a supportive friend to her, and that's it. She also revealed how Ken wrote a letter to Gypsy after watching her documentary, which started their love affair. It was also reported that Ken wanted Gypsy to experience life outside of prison before locking her up in a marriage, and felt it'd be better for her to do that without him in the picture. News of Gypsy being spotted with her old fling comes days after it was announced she was divorcing her husband of almost 2 years.
All right, moving right along. Let's see what else Ryan has to say.
I'm moving on, guys. Last night, I will tell y'all this. When I saw that clip of the things she said and where they made me seem creepy for texting her, y'all gotta realize that's still my wife. I might have business to discuss. I might, we are working through things, but I will let the lawyers handle it from now on. Like last night, saw some true colors and I wasn't impressed. Kind of over it. I hope she's happy. Good for her. But I'm over it. Make me seem cringy for texting when she calls me and stuff. Nah, I ain't got time for that mess. Thank you for the marvelous stuff. So, guys, like I said, that video, seeing her do that and then wanting to take his last name, ugh. Whatever. Your last name's still technically Anderson, by the way, but whatever. So today I'm going to a movie. I'm deciding to just go on. I'm done with that mess. Done with it. I'm done with that. So good luck to her, but I ain't got time for that mess no more, guys. I am moving forward. Yes, it's a meetup. It's not a date. For a long move on. Yeah, I am. I'm moving on, guys.
I'm not totally convinced that he's moving on. I think, unfortunately, he's very much hung up on her. I think that she's promised him things behind the scenes and behind Ken's back. From what I hear, also, the proceedings on the divorce is not going smoothly in court either. So it sounds like that's going to get dragged out. It's probably all part of Gypsy's plan. Hi, Unravel. Good to see you. I agree with you on Gypsy Rose. Can't help but to wonder what is wrong with any of these guys wanting a relationship with her. It definitely says something with them, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, as much as I do think that she's manipulating Ken and stuff like that, there's aspects of these guys that I think they want her for certain reasons too, right? I mean, whether it's money, whether it's for sex, I don't know. But I will say of the two, I think that Ryan had the purest intentions and he would have continued to take really good care of her. But that just was not meant to be because she's never let go of Ken. I think the only person who may not be using Gypsy for money is Mia. Christy and Rod are, and even Ken, in my opinion. Yeah, and I think that, you know, for a while I thought, oh, Rod, he's just oblivious. He's so busy working. He's got no idea what's going on. But I think that there's an element to him that has purposely turned a blind eye. Like, it's not like he's clueless. It's that he's chosen to be clueless because he knows that it's, you know, they're reaping benefits from it. And it's whatever his wife is doing, it's making her happy. And he's like, whatever, you know. I feel like he's the type of guy that's just like rolls with the punches and like he doesn't put his foot down. Like, he tried to tell Christy, if Ryan and Gypsy break up, it's going to be your problem. You need to stop meddling. And Christy didn't listen. She didn't respect him. And same thing when it comes to his history with Dee Dee. I think that he let Dee Dee manipulate him and he was all for it. And then he knew that something was suspicious when they were being told, yeah, she needs a wheelchair and she's very, very sick, blah, blah, blah. I think that he had a lot of opportunities to really inquire about it and see what the heck's going on with my kid. And he chose not to on purpose. So he's like chosen to be in the dark. Yes, please take a minute and hit that thumbs up. Thank you, Unravel. I'm surprised there's even lawyers involved. This could have easily been a divorce done by saying irreconcilable differences and take their own belongings that they started with and go. Right. There's no kids involved. They barely have any like assets tied. I mean, he's renting an apartment we've seen on the show. Her childhood trauma has to be stored somewhere in her psyche, potentially an unstable individual, newfound positive fame, and a lot to digest, hoping there is a positive future for the baby. That's how I feel, Dustin. Again, I'll say it again. We don't wish her ill will. I'm not one of those channels that are like really hating on her. We really gave her the chance and the benefit of the doubt to, you know, show us like, okay, you're ready to change. But there's just been elements about her that have just shown that she will do whatever she wants without a care of who she kind of drags through her own mud. She's manipulative. Okay, thanks for stopping in, Dustin. Hope you can join us tomorrow night. We'll be covering another case. Same time, same place. Hi, Heather Bratt. Good to see you. I think Gypsy will continue to keep Brian near just in case it doesn't work out with Ken. She wants her cake and to eat it too. I could see that. Absolutely. Here comes a Jade Raid. Thank you guys for being here. Hit that thumbs up as you're joining. They're joining from Melissa Jade's channel. If you guys like true crime, I definitely recommend her channel as well. So thank you guys for being here. Oh, then there she is, the lovely Melissa Jade. Thanks for being here. I don't buy her BS, never have, never will. Anyone that can plan to unalive their parent is capable of anything. I know. And the thing is, too, is like I looked at it from a perspective of she was abused and she was trying to get away. That's why she plotted in such a desperate situation and desperate way. Then I started to see things from a different perspective and started to realize like, well, maybe everything I thought I knew about this case and about this girl, I actually don't know. So I'm not 100% sold that, you know, everything I thought about her isn't true, but I'm willing to keep my mind open to, okay, maybe, you know, she's not as much of a victim or as innocent as I thought that she maybe might be. But again, I'm not 100% on board with this whole she was never abused story. Like, I think that there's an element, it's a very complex case that I think that she could be involved in the scammings, but also put in a situation where she felt like she kind of had to go along with it because that was her mother, that was her house, that was all she knew. She herself is a manipulator, but she was, I think, manipulated her whole life. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's complex. Childhood trauma, you can block things that happen to you, and you don't have to say over it, have a say over it. Yeah, it's your body that will deal with it. That's true. Thank you, Kel. I am feeling a little better. Fever's gone away. Still kind of congested, so I don't sound like 100% myself. Gypsy is very manipulative and will use whoever she can. Yep. I also think that that's unfortunately something that you kind of learn in prison too, like to kind of, you're in a survival mode, right? So unfortunately, as much as we'd like to think that people get rehabilitated, I think some of that has like stunted her also, if that makes sense. I've lost a lot of respect for Rod after hearing some of the things he has said. I always had my questions about him. Like, how do you let all these years go by, and not really be more involved in what was going on? And then now I'm at that same point where I'm like, come on, dude, wake up. Nah, my opinion has totally changed on Gyps. Yeah, both can be true at the same time. Yeah, there does not seem to be any limit to what Gypsy is capable of in a manipulative sense, right? She was a good learner. She was conditioned. I do agree there. Oh, she was aware of the scams and joined right in. She still does it to this day. I don't trust a woman that can't live without a man. She isn't innocent. The mother is dead. She can't tell her side. Personally, I think she's a dangerous person. Oof. And that's scary with the fact that she is about to be a mother. Well, I mean, she's only 16 weeks, but you guys know. Fancy wasn't respectful either. And we're going to get to her. That's the thing, is like I was saying earlier, is they have a history. They have even legal issues that I'll read to you guys. So her opinion on everything, I'm not 100% on board with, because she has a biased, very personal opinion because she was so close to them, right? So everything that she's kind of spitting out, I'm not really eating it up 100%. I'll listen because I'm open-minded, but I think they abused each other. Hey, Jaded. Okay, good comments, guys. Let's keep going. I liked Ron at first, but he owned up to not being around when Gyp was growing up. Not so much anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I agree. But then now I'm at the point where I'm like, he doesn't seem to be like, I don't know. I just see him. I have mixed feelings about Rod because of the reality show.
Played by Christy? No comment. But that should answer your question right there. Yeah. Am I going to fight Ken? He doesn't want to see me. Just honestly, I'm a big dude. He doesn't want none of this. It wouldn't even be close. Like, wouldn't even be a question. I yank his hair out. Just playing. Don't take it personal. I'm just playing. No hair having mother. Anyway, not even gonna play. I'm a big dude, so it is what it is. They can crack on me being big, whatever. Did I get my family ring back? That'll be on there when you see on the show, and you'll see. Do I think Gypsy was manipulated by Christy? No comment.
I definitely think Gypsy was manipulated by Christy. It's wild though, right? Because for how manipulative we think Gypsy is, she seems to be very easily swayed, right?
That if Gypsy wasn't pregnant, would she be back with me? Possibly. You want my honest opinion? Possibly, but I don't know. She don't love me? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Do I honestly believe that if Gypsy wasn't pregnant, would she be back with me? Possibly. You want my honest opinion? Possibly.
I think that she might have gotten back with Ryan or still stayed with Ryan if she wasn't pregnant, but I think at any opportunity to be with somebody else, she would probably have jumped ship. So here, Rod, this is part of the show. He says she wants a baby. You can see the subtitles. She wants a baby. And Gypsy's sitting there with Ken.
What?
I can tell, bro.
What? I don't know. Where does this come from?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell both of y'all. Just wait, okay? Okay. Make sure y'all give y'all relationship a chance to develop without the stress of
We all want babies.
additional burdens. Okay.
We'll have
I mean, I want a baby
Yeah.
too. I'm not gonna lie. I want a little grandkid, but I don't want to raise. I don't want to be raising one.
We want it where it can go back home.
Please. I'm going to be really disappointed.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. It's definitely, it's...
Y'all enjoy
wait.
each other.
Yeah, in time.
Lots of time.
And just seeing like Ken next to Rod, like, I don't know, Rod's masculine to me. Ken, he comes off as very feminine to me. I'm sorry. Some guys like that. Some girls like that.
Humiliated, disrespectful to me. No comment. Yeah, like guys, I see all this stuff. I didn't trust her. That's why. Well, guys, do y'all realize that she was cheating on me? I mean, I didn't say quit texting Ken. Guys, y'all were not in our relationship. So I love when I get comments of like, you were controlling as hell for saying this one comment. Guys, y'all don't know Gypsy like I know Gypsy. Gypsy's sweet and great, but y'all don't know her. Gypsy's great though, but y'all don't know what it's like to be with her. I'm not gonna talk bad about Gypsy. I'm just not. She humiliated, disrespectful to me. No comment.
And Ryan is constantly doing that. He'll kind of tease at the idea of being truthful about who Gypsy is. And then all of a sudden he'll be like, well, no comment. But, she's sweet and all. But it's like, you can't play both sides. And I feel like Ryan does, because I think that Gypsy's still playing him too.
Thanksgiving.
Is that right?
Yes.
For Christmas dinner, y'all eat gumbo?
Yes.
For Thanksgiving, you eat gumbo?
Well,
On a random Tuesday, you eat
Well, here's the thing. I grew up, when I was living with my mom, we didn't do the whole turkey dressing, cranberry sauce and all that Thanksgiving-y stuff. We didn't do a meal like that.
Okay.
So growing up, that wasn't like a thing. We celebrated Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, call your family, whatever the freak. But the actual meal, we didn't have all that. So I went to prison, and for Thanksgiving, a church would donate turkeys to the prison. And so they would serve the turkey that was donated with pumpkin pie. So I didn't start getting a Thanksgiving meal until I went to prison.
That sucks.
Combo is good for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Is that right?
Yes.
I get very weirded out. I don't know about you guys when she talks about her mother. I don't know. I just feel like it'd be better if she just never mentioned her. It's like she talks about her in such a nice way. You know, like there was even controversy over her made it like a Mother's Day post about her this year. It's like, but I thought that she needed to die because she was abusing you. It's very much made me like see like, wait, what's going on here? Like, were you just mad at her and had to carry this out, or were you really in a desperate situation, you know? Jada said, I feel creepy and my skin crawls. Yeah. I feel like she's keeping Ryan in her back pocket just in case she needs him to fall back on, for sure. And I think she will need him. I don't think Ken's going to be around much longer. I think she did the extra pokes to her mom. You know, it wouldn't surprise me. There's definitely a disconnect to what she did to her mother. Yep. Kind of like before you went to prison, had plenty of donations. Right. Definitely he will take her back too, for sure. All right, so this is her half sister.
Ken yesterday. Actually, me and Andre hung out with Ken yesterday. Andre said he likes Ken. I like Ken. We were able to spend some time there after our photo shoot. I was live yesterday while I was getting ready a little bit while I was doing my hair, and Gypsy came in for a minute. But Ken didn't get there until like right before we got back from our photo shoot. So hung out with him and Gypsy while the debate was going, and met his dog Parker. I don't miss Ryan at all. I always looked irritated by him. I'm gonna say like Kim, no comment. LOL. I hung out with Ken yesterday. Actually, me and Andre hung out with Ken yesterday. Andre said he likes Ken.
I just can't help but feel like some of the reason why the family doesn't like Ryan is because of they've been manipulated by Gypsy into not liking him. Okay, so this was a conversation that was put out on Flawless Nina's channel, but the conversation is with Fancy, who is in a dispute with the family for alleged defamation. So they had a connection, a partnership, a former one, and it fizzled out. The Blanchard clan, including Blanchard's father, Rod, stepmother Christy, and stepsister Mia, filed a lawsuit in April against Fancy in the circuit court. In May. The family is suing Johns for several alleged offenses, including fraud, breach of contract, unjust enrichment, defamation, and false light. Blanchard and her parents met Johns while Blanchard was serving a 10-year prison sentence following the murder of Blanchard's biological mother, Dee Dee. According to the lawsuit, Johns, who runs the production company Mad Ginger Entertainment, allegedly offered her services to produce media projects about Blanchard's life and case. The relationship reportedly soared after the family claims Johns failed to secure any media products and projects or produce any marketable content per the filing. So they're mad that they were promised all this stuff and Fancy didn't follow through. Comes down to fame and money, it sounds like. However, Johns purportedly continued to create and post content about Blanchard against the family's wishes. Blanchard pled guilty to second degree. Okay, we know all that. Gypsy Rose Blanchard accuses Fancy of violating content agreement. In late 2017, Blanchard and the parents, Rod and Christy, each signed a life rights option agreement with Johns. According to the family's complaint, as part of their agreement, The Blanchard family provided Johns with access and copies of the evidence and documents surrounding Gypsy's life and case, which include crime scene photos, court transcripts, family photos and videos, and Blanchard's medical records. For the next 2 years, plaintiffs Gypsy, Rod, Christie diligently worked with defendant Johns. They had countless conversations and interviews with her regarding their lives and circumstances of the murder. The lawsuit reads, during this time, Johns purported to be skilled and experienced enough to perform her side of the contract. In 2019, the Blanchard family severed ties with Johns after she allegedly was unable to produce the media content they had agreed to and became confrontational over Gypsy's relationship with her fiance, Ken. Oh my God, so Ken's a part of this stuff too. Johns went on to post about Blanchard's case in explicit detail online through comments, videos, podcasts, and interviews. The lawsuit states some of this content, which featured documents provided by the Johns by the Blanchard family, was reportedly monetized through subscription-based platforms such as Patreon. As evidenced by the defendant, Johns' conduct and the conduct of her agents, associates, Johns is initially and freely utilizing the material she received from the plaintiffs pursuant to the agreement signed by the plaintiffs Gypsy and Rod and Christie, respectively, without their consent and for their own pecuniary gain. The lawsuit reads, Blanchard and her family also claimed John's content became critical in tone and towards the family. So they handed all this stuff over to this Fancy person. They were told that Fancy was going to provide them with, stuff to produce about their life and all that. And then Fancy starts to kind of criticize things about the case, about the family. And now they're just, they're unhappy with what it's turned into. I'm obsessed with the fact a murderer and her lying con artist stepmother are coming to the world one paycheck at a time, Johns allegedly wrote of Blanchard and Christie in an excerpt on Facebook. Fancy claims Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her family are stalking her. In the lawsuit, the Blanchard family alleges Johns falsely accused them on social media videos of stalking her and encouraging others to stalk and harass her. She has stated that she is in fear that someone will take her out, the lawsuit reads. So it's just it looks like it's spiraled out of control. They both have temporary restraining orders and a preliminary and permanent injunction, blah, blah, blah. So they're in court with this Fancy person. So you are going to hear, Rod is kind of hard to hear. So you're going to have to either turn it up, pay close attention, put your headphones on. It becomes more clear as this goes on. But yeah.
I haven't talked to Rod since the first day that I sat on the back porch. We went to the FBI, and your wife was who asked us to drop the FBI.
He has to watch his microphone because he's very low.
Okay, well, I'll turn it up so I can hear him. I haven't talked to Rod since the first day that I sat on the back porch with him.
Where's that?
Hello, you hear me?
We can hear you.
Fancy, I have to disagree with you. I don't want Chris to play in any part in we need to.
Hey, hold on a second. Can everyone else please mute? Because I can't hear him. I'm even going to mute. I can barely hear him.
You hear me? Fancy? Oh. Hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so Fancy, I disagree with you when you say that he and Christy manipulated me some kind of way when Gypsy was in the 10-year-old range. I don't agree with that. Christy and Dee weren't working together on a way to make me feel one way or another about Gypsy. I don't know where that's coming from.
Is Fancy still here? Yeah, Fancy, can you hear him?
I get it, Fancy. That's your
Sorry, I
opinion.
was muted so I could hear better. I was hoping my background noise would make it easier to hear him. Okay, I heard what you said, Rod, about that. I'm more talking about the fact that I think you've been misled to understanding what actually is in Gypsy's medical records that are actually correct. And I'm also think you might have been misled to think of how Gypsy's developmental, as far as behavioral and the different things that come along with this chromosome disorder, that she could be predisposed to have these types of behavioral issues and tendencies. It even ties into schizophrenia, Rod. I'm not sure if you know that or not.
Has Gypsy been diagnosed with schizophrenia?
No, I did not say that she had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, Rod. What I said is the chromosome disorder leads to several types of severe behavioral issues that can have comorbidity with the chromosome disorder. And based on that, these childish antics and the different things and the violent behavior and all the things she has exhibited for years and years and years, we have so many stories of just things that she did all along the way, Rod, that was probably very concerning for Dee Dee.
Does it explain how she was able to stay in a wheelchair and then all of a sudden be able to walk?
Well, if I recall correctly, when she first told you about the wheelchair, she said that the reason that the wheelchair was being utilized was because she had muscle weakness. And at some point in time, if she walked too much, then she would get tired and her muscles would hurt, correct?
Yes, that is correct. That's what Dee Dee told me the first time I asked her after the accident.
Okay. So based on that, Rod, and the muscle biopsy, and that she was diagnosed with fiber to atrophy. They ruled out muscular dystrophy, but they did find that she did have some muscle tone weakness. Now, with this chromosome disorder, the doctor that I have spoken with about this has explained to me that a lot of those type of things, the muscle weakness, the eyes, the ears, all the different things that led that you just couldn't figure out what was wrong, a lot of those things are things with physical therapy or any of the things that she actually did participate in could help those conditions to either cease to exist any further because she outgrows them, or they at least go down to a point that she can manage them without all the different things she was needing to manage them with in the first place. But I do believe that the wheelchair was used as a way to con charities and individuals. I do believe she was doing that. I'm just telling you, I don't believe, based on her medical records and the people have looked at it, I do not believe she was medically child abusing Gypsy. I believe it was medical fraud.
Do you think that making her stay in the wheelchair can be considered Munchausen by proxy? Which is
no, it's not. No, it would not be considered Munchausen by proxy. It's a fraud. That would be malingering, which is for profit. Dee Dee did not do this because I don't know if you know about Munchausen by proxy, but Munchausen.
And that's where I'm going to pause it right there for a second, because as I was listening to this earlier, and thank you, Shmita, for that inside note, Fancy lied about an assault in a police report. Okay, so she's the type of person that lies on a police report, duly noted. And then the video came out and made her out to be a liar. I have a hard time trusting anything she says. And yeah, I feel the same way. I think that her opinion, her angle of everything is very biased. She has personal reasons to kind of double down on her side of things. She's talking about this malignant thing. And I've been told this over and over again in these Facebook groups regarding Gypsy. Like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. She didn't have Munchausen by proxy. She had she was malingering or maligner, whatever. So, of course, I had to jump down a rabbit hole. Malingering is a fabrication, feigning, or exaggeration of physical or psychological symptoms designed to achieve a desired outcome, such as personal gain, relief from duty or work, avoiding arrest, receiving medications, and mitigating prison sentencing. So I was like, okay, different diagnosis, factitious disorder. So then I start seeing these pictures here. I'm like, okay, so is this considered abuse though? So, I'm open to educating myself and trying to listen to what they're trying to say in these Facebook groups and what Fancy is trying to push as her narrative. So then I jumped down this psychiatry journal, and it just blatantly says right here, malingering by proxy is a form of abuse. So that to me, I'm like, okay, like whether or not we think that she had Munchausen by proxy or this malingering, whatever, it's abuse with motives such as pursuing money, getting more medicine. Because remember, there was this, we seen even in the pictures. Do you guys remember seeing the pictures of their house? And then there was doctors' pads. Remember, there was prescription pads in the photos. They had them in Gypsy's house. We seen them. So getting more prescription, avoiding military service or imprisonment, getting a vacation or other benefits and desires. It is commonly seen in general hospitals where patients often complain about pain, cognitive deficits, and toxin exposure to feign symptoms. Malingering PTSD is involved in criminal, civil, and disability evaluations. Parents are often the perpetuators, directing or pursuing one child's to exaggerate or feign symptoms to obtain financial compensation, or assuming a victim or a hero role. Malignant by proxy can coexist with Munchausen by proxy, and both are forms of maltreatment. So again, this is only one source. Didn't have the time and energy to kind of jump down all these other holes. Like, okay, is this child abuse? To me, it seems if you're under the age of 13 or 18 and your parent is kind of manipulating you to go along with their schemes, it seems like it's being classified still as abuse. So as much as I'm open to looking at things from a different angle, I still feel that everything that she was doing to Gypsy, she might have had some of the real symptoms from, her chromosome deletion or whatever. Those might have really been there. But the cancers and the leukemia talk and, yes, it was to scam for money and get, Make-A-Wish Foundation and get their trips and stuff. But when you're under 18 and your brain isn't fully developed and you're just kind of at the mercy of going along with the schemes that your parent is kind of putting you up to, whether it's malignant or Munchausen by proxy, it seems like it's classified. Again, this is just one report, and it is from, a medical standpoint and opinion here. It seems like it's still classified as abuse. So what I like about my subscribers and people who listen, you guys chime in and give your opinion all the time. And I'm open to kind of see, what you guys see about this, because I just see it as them kind of both being forms of abuse. If you're under 18 and you're kind of in this situation with your guardian, my read of it is that some people are deliberate con artists, and then there are people who are off mentally and do the same things, but the reason is mental illness versus just plain conning. Yes, and this also, I don't know if it says it in this one, but it said it in other sites on Google that it is still considered a mental illness. So for people to say things, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but people say things like Dee Dee was never diagnosed with Munchausen by proxy. Yes, I learned that too, Melly. I thought that was interesting too. It's funny that we both kind of put that together today. I don't know. And that's the thing, Kim, is I'm totally open to people having this opinion. She said, I'm sorry, she's not abused. She faked it and she was in on it with her mom. It's basically saying people who are in on it with their parents, like this by proxy part, Parents are often perpetuators, directing and pursuing one child's to exaggerate. So she was coaching Gypsy to kind of go along with it. And yes, Gypsy was in on the scamming, but if she's under 18, she's still a child. So in my opinion, and it seems that of the doctor who wrote this article, that's still abuse. So now we see Gypsy continuing the scamming. She's an adult, and we're saying this is just wrong. Like, why have you not stopped this? So that's kind of where I'm at with it all. But again, if you guys have anything to kind of add to it, I'm all ears. I'm very open to it. Spirit Seeker Squad, thank you for being here. And that's a lovely picture. And thank you for gifting a membership, and welcome to that member. If you can thank Spirit Seeker Squad, she's right here in chat. And hello, Laya, and everyone else who's been here. Yeah, she was abused, but there's something off about her. She truly needs deep therapy. I agree. I definitely agree. Thank you, Spirit Seeker Squad. I appreciate that. I definitely believe what she went through was abuse, 100%, and manipulation and lies. It literally all she ever learned growing up. Was never exposed to healthy people at all growing up to learn better. I'm right there with you. So yeah, the therapy is required on parole. And I've heard that it's kind of, excuse the term, half-assed therapy. Like it's done over like telemed. Or I've never done that. I don't know much about it. I don't know the credentials of the person she's speaking to. But yes, I don't know. But I do think that she needs to be, in it at least weekly. It was learned behavior. Yes. Munchausen is usually comorbid with a cluster B personality disorder. Hi, Beach Bum. Thanks for being here. I don't know if she always knew, but there was a point where she got old enough to know better. But she did not do better, that's for sure. She went along with it, and she used it as an excuse for murder. Yep, I could see that too. And I think that to this day, and if you watch the reality show, I don't know if you did, Shmita, but there were times where she was like gaslighting Ryan in their arguments, saying, that's stuff that my mother would say to me, and, making him feel like crap in just a certain way, because she would throw out there like her mother did this and her mother did that, and how dare you type of, talk to him. And it's like, you can just tell that she's always going to use that to her advantage. The fact that she ran before and used a BB on her mom, she didn't have to unalive her. Right. Yeah, she can't do that forever. Agree. Yeah, that is abusive. And what do we always hear in these cases? People who abuse people were probably abused also. And it doesn't excuse it, but it kind of gives a little insight on it, right? Okay, so let's get back to this Rod thing, because Fancy's going to go on to say, like, no, she wasn't abused. You don't know. You don't know. She was dealing with this, now I don't even remember what's called, malignant or whatever. It's like, it seems as though that many still kind of include this malignant whatever as child abuse. If you're under 18 and you're kind of coaching and manipulating your child to go along with your schemes. Yes, she kind of just went with it. She didn't have to, right? But she was a child and she still did. Malingering. Thank you, Allison. Allegedly, Dee Dee's health was failing. And if she were to die, Gypsy Rose's life was going to change. A loss of a caregiver means placement in a care facility. And that's a whole other layer to everything, right? Like, this is a very complex case, and it continues to be. Like, she's somebody that we're kind of seeing out in the public eye who did spend time in prison, who actually might have had way more of a role in this murder than we all thought, and that has been portrayed to us. So I just think that it's very complicated. Malingering. Thank you, E.E. Caroline. Oh.
Munchausen by proxy is for a specific reason, and that's for them to get accolades. It's for them to be seen as the conquering hero, all of those things. So even the experts that I've spoken to about this have said that if it was only for profit, and that's what we believe it is, and what we're showing in the evidence, Rod, and I'm serious, I'll sit down and talk with you guys. I even offered to come and talk to Christy about this despite our differences. But what happened is it's called malingering, which is solely for profit. And Gypsy testified to that in court when she was asked, why did she make you do this? And she said it was for financial gain. In her interrogation, she had mentioned the same thing. So that would make it malingering by proxy, not Munchausen by proxy. And it has a completely different psychological thing.
And what she just said actually contradicts what that website written by, a doctor says. Pretty much says that it kind of can coexist with Munchausen by proxy. So it's not totally different. It has different elements to it, but it's not as different as Fancy is trying to portray it to Rod here. And oddly enough, she doesn't think that it's abuse to a child. It seems like it to me. Again, if you're under 18, if she's knowing about the scams and the scheming and she's over 18, then I can kind of see you could kind of argue yeah, but you knew what you were doing. You knew that this wasn't what it was. You know what I mean? But again, it's complex. And yes, I agree, Amber. I've seen a lot of comments like that. She served her time. That's that. You can't, exactly, Allison, double jeopardy rule. Not going to happen. Right. She's not a doctor. And she's somebody who is being, sued by this family. She has a vendetta against them. Her opinion and her narrative here with Rod is skewed.
It's not listed. Malingering is not listed in the DSM-5 as a disorder because it's not a mental disorder. They're making it.
And from everything I read up on today, you guys can go down your own rabbit hole. It is still classified as a mental illness. So Fancy, I don't know where she's getting her information from, but not impressed.
Conscious decision to fraud people. There's a difference. I don't believe Dee Dee abused your daughter medically.
Okay, so I pulled up online right here the Munchausen syndrome by proxy definition, and it says the goal is to make it appear as if the person is sick or injured. If I think that's what Dee Dee did, whether or not it was for
no
or whatever.
No, Rod. The difference is when it's for when the financial gain part comes in. It's not Munchausen, it's malingering. That's the difference. So sitting her in a wheelchair, okay, is not causing her any physical discomfort in the medical field. It's not a procedure. It's not anything. And I do believe she was able to walk around the home in Springfield based on the way that the home looks, based on the fact that there was no way those wheelchairs were getting through there. There's also tons of dust on all of them. They were covered in things. She was not using the wheelchair at that point in time because she no longer needed it. Dee Dee even told them in 2011 in her records, Rod, that she was no longer interested in pursuing any type of other disorders or any information as to why Gypsy had certain conditions they could not explain yet, because it was explained all by the chromosome disorder, and she was just happy that she had a stable child. That is notated exactly by the doctor. So I'm telling you, if she had done medical procedures to her that were absolutely not necessary, that's Munchausen by proxy. Based on what our records show, she didn't do that. What she did was create a false, a veil for financial profit. And that makes it different than Munchausen by proxy. Does that make sense?
Well, not really. I mean, I didn't see the definition of malingering.
Well, you're going to have to look up malingering because it's very specific. And Dr. Feldman even talked about this.
You going to let me talk or not?
No, I'm sorry. I can't hear you well. So there's a lag, Rod. I'm not trying to be rude.
Okay, so I haven't read the definition of malingering by proxy, but On here, it says the goal is to make it appear as if the person is sick or injured and to deceive others into believing that full attention is necessary. And, you can have your opinion on what, if it was abuse or not, if you made her sick, or if you had a prescription pad.
Okay, can I ask you a question about the prescription pad?
What's that?
Can I ask you a question about the prescription pad that Christy says she found? Where did she find that prescription pad, and have you actually?
Now, here Fancy questions the legitimacy of the prescription pad. We see it in the photos from the house. You guys, if you guys have seen it, let me know in chat, because I feel like I don't want to imagine what I've seen, but I'm pretty certain that there was prescription pads in that house, in the cabinet where the scripts were. I'm almost positive I saw it. Boo, boo, boo. As Zen says, she was not medically abused. She needed every surgery she had. Okay, so why did she need the teeth pulled? Why did she need the feeding tube? If people want to say shaving her head and sitting in a wheelchair is abuse, that's their opinion, but Dee Dee didn't deserve to die for that. No one said Dee Dee deserved to die for it. Shaving your head and sitting in a wheelchair, I believe that is abuse, personally. I think that's mental abuse, psychological abuse, personally. Might not be physically abusing, but I think that's child abuse. Yeah, she stole the RX pads. Yeah, so the procedure where Gypsy had her salivary gland. I've seen people say, J. Rose, yes, that was part of blah, 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 blah that she had. Like, I've seen everyone kind of explain it. It's like, you guys aren't doctors. Obviously, I'm not a doctor either, but I don't see how anyone can say it with 100% certainty. And that's the thing, being Bio Girl, I'm right there with you. Didn't seem like she needed every surgery. Those were the days when people sold prescription pads and get fake prescriptions filed. Yes, abuse for sure. That is absolutely abuse. The failure to thrive, I mean, I think that there are other, I've seen, that's what it was. People tried to argue. It was because she had failure to thrive. I think the problem with it all, sorry, which makes this whole complexity, Dee Dee was telling the doctors certain things, which manipulated their diagnosis of Gypsy. So we know that Gypsy's a liar, but Gypsy would say things like her mother would withhold food from her if she didn't behave. So if that's true, was Dee Dee setting it up to that she was failure to thrive? You know what I mean? That's what's so complex and complicated about this case is the doctors might have diagnosed her with things in that medical paperwork, because everyone keeps saying, check her medical records, check this, check that. Those doctors were manipulated by the mother, which makes their diagnosis skewed because they're not getting a full, truthful patient presented in front of them. They're getting somebody who might have been withheld food for like a few days before that doctor visit, or, so that's the problem. Like, people keep saying, like, you need to reference the medical records, you need to look. But those medical records were presented by a mother who was lying to the doctors. So the doctor has no choice but kind of listen in, like, oh, yeah, she's not gaining weight. She hasn't gained weight since the last time you were here. She's got very low iron symptoms. But if she was being withheld food and stuff, then of course, then that's why the medical records are going to say that doctors diagnosed her with this. So as much as I say, like, I'm open to other opinions. I feel like the other side of all this are not open to like other opinions, because I've had this conversation with people over and over where I've said, yes, but you do realize if Dee Dee was lying to the doctors, and that diagnosis that are on those medical records might not be 100% valid. Yes, E.E. Caroline. Doctors tend to operate on the presumption that parents correctly report symptoms. Exactly. And unfortunately, the same people who say things like, Dee Dee was just a con artist, she was just a liar, she didn't have Munchausen by proxy, though. Well, how come she can be a liar and a con artist to certain elements, but you don't believe that she was lying and being a con artist to the doctors about the child? They also prescribe appetite meds to increase appetite, vitamins. Yeah, there were other avenues that could have been taken besides a feeding tube, in my opinion. Yes, a tube was the last resort. Yes. I would love to see a Dr. Phil episode with Gypsy today. Yeah, I wonder why that hasn't happened. Skinny would love to know your field of education. And again, I'm obviously not an expert either. But I do think that by having an open mind, I've realized that it doesn't seem like other people in this case want an open mind. So, Dee Dee was just a con artist. She was just a scammer, but she wasn't scamming the doctors about like the feeding tube aspect. Because that's a main thing that people kind of go to is like, yeah, but she didn't need this procedure. She didn't need that procedure. And the feeding tube is the main one. And they always say, well, no, look at her medical record. She had failure to thrive. But that could have been, manipulated. Here's my stance. I do not know the real truth of everything. And I'm not a doctor. Dee Dee did some messed up, abusive things. But Gypsy's part in this is scary. And I don't trust her either. I'm right there with you. I wish the reality show would document her struggles post-incarceration, going to school, getting a job. Yes, pulling herself together. But she's a Kardashian admirer and an extremely toxic bulldozer. Yes, that's how I feel too. Like, I'm not over here like a cheerleader for Gypsy by any means. And I've changed my perspective on the case so much that it kind of annoys me when other people like aren't willing to kind of realize like, okay, she was a con artist. Like, she could have, conned that whole diagnosis of failure to thrive. I mean, that's such an easy thing for a parent to do. Withhold nutrients from your child. It's difficult to keep an open mind, but we must consider everything, and in any case, anyone is capable of anything. Yeah, and unfortunately, it goes back to this whole like Dee Dee's not here to defend herself. She's not here to give her side. So we kind of have to look at it as like it's everything that we say based on Dee Dee is an opinion. Yeah, yeah, that's how I am too, Melanie. I am drinking water, but thank you, Roxanne. Doing a lot of talking too. I know my chest is a little raspy. And that's fine that you disagree. And again, we're very open to all opinions here. There might be things that were misconstrued, like her being tied to a dog leash to Dee Dee. Like, did that really happen? I don't know. So I do see where you're saying, like her being held captain, like never tied to the bed. Like, we don't know, right? Like, you can't 100% say that that never happened, and I can't 100% say that it did happen, because what we have seen from Gypsy is she still is lying and manipulating. I absolutely believe she helped Nick. She fulfilled her own fantasy through him. In my opinion, Dee Dee was far from perfect, but I believe Gypsy knew the truth her whole older years. And I'm open to all that too now. I know she's not bettering herself from what I've seen.
actually seen that prescription pad?
Absolutely. I was there with her. Myself,
Okay, and where was it when you found it, Rod?
In the bedroom somewhere.
It was in the bedroom. Okay. Now, here's the thing about that. What I can tell you is that Christy actually gave me the book from inside Dee Dee's home, which showed all the records of her picking up every single medication for her and Dee and Gypsy for several years. They weren't using several different pharmacies, and all the things that Gypsy was prescribed at the time, I do believe was medically necessary. And so she wasn't going to she was not doctor shopping, Rod, like you guys have been led to believe. She wasn't going to different pharmacies and getting different medications all over the place. Those are the indications of Munchausen by proxy. Again, everything she was doing was for financial gain, and that changes the way that this story has to be looked at. I'm sorry, it does.
I haven't said that she was doctor shopping. I only said she lying to the doctors down here, moved and told them the records were lost, and gave them
the records weren't lost, Rod. Did you know that the records weren't lost?
Yes.
Did you know that Dr. Steele received them in June of 2000 or September of 2005, and in that is where he would have known that muscular dystrophy was ruled out in 2000 and 2001, and he continued to chart it. He also lied on Lifetime Confessions about seeing those records, and he also lied about the records he was holding in his hand, because all of the ones that he was holding in his hand were from Children's, and I have those records. And he was the referring doctor to all of those specialists, Rod.
Well, I don't know about the doctor. I don't know if he lied or not. I'm not.
I do. That's the thing. I have these records, and what I'm saying, I have actual evidence and proof of.
See, I would love for Fancy to show the clip or play the clip of the doctor, what the doctor actually said, and then show her side of it and contradict it, instead of just telling Rod, he lied. And she's telling Rod, she's telling her whole audience. You can see that this live stream had over 3,000 people listening. She has, 120. I don't know what this 120K is. I don't know. But, you got to present your receipts if you're going to say things like this doctor lied. Because now that doctor could come back and sue her and be like, how dare you? I didn't lie. I don't understand why they're even having communications, hearing that they're in court or they're in legal battles with each other, unless that's over with. Like, show what you have to say.
I'm not making these claims just to make these claims, Rod. I don't want anything bad to happen to you guys. I don't. I came to this story because I cared. And then your wife lied to me. Your daughter lied to me. And then they put a smear campaign together to discredit and defame me. And I'm sorry, that is when I became on the defensive. But truthfully, Rod, all I care about today is truth. I don't care about all the bullshit. I just want it to stop. And it has been coming from Gypsy since January of this year. She put out, let me finish, Rod, please. She put out a Facebook post asking everyone to deplatform me on every single platform to end my tyranny. I have never caused tyranny to you. I have never kept any type of ability for you to earn money. The contract you signed was solid. And I know that if we had gotten through the court case, we might have decided to pay you out for the things that we offered to pay you for in the first place, which I had no problem doing.
So it sounds like the court case is over. It got dismissed, maybe.
But as far as anything else, Rod, my contract is extremely solid, and I did everything I said I was going to do, and I still am doing those things. This is not a witch hunt, Rod. I didn't mean to turn on your family like this and just be shitty. They turned on me, and they hurt me on purpose. And your wife has done that, and you're going to have to realize it. I can show you all of it.
far as I know, Fancy, we had a 2-year option with you, life rights option for 2 years, right? And you were supposed to produce something in 2 years?
Actually, no, it's not. Rod, no, it's not a 2-year option. Actually, it had a 2-year option for the very first project, which we completed the podcast in the 2-year period. Any additional projects that we made past that, you had an additional clause in there that you would be paid out at a lesser fee for the additional projects, including books, podcasts, media, anything that we made after that, you had an additional payout. The only reason we never paid you out is because your wife made it so my podcast could not be monetized, could not be earning money. Otherwise, we would have paid you for the viable project. Your wife also offered to come on to that project, and she told me the reason that she could not be interviewed on that podcast was because you told her not to. I have those screenshots. She also went to Natasha Cooper and told Natasha Cooper that I cheated on my husband in California while I was out there pitching the project, that I did not pitch the project and I contracted an STD. She is the one who did that. I have the screenshots of that as well. Rod, I'm not lying. She has done these things, and I think you are offshore way too often that you don't know what your daughter and your wife are doing. I'm not mad at you at all. I don't believe you've done this. I believe your daughter and your wife has, because I believe they're covering up the motive for Gypsy unaliving Dee Dee. I'm sorry. I do believe this with my whole heart, and I have evidence to prove that it's true.
Well, you have your evidence, Fancy, argue your case. I'm not saying that you don't have some valid proof. The information that
absolutely, thank you.
As I'm hearing, or from what I understand, or what I believe, is we had a 2-year contract with you. It didn't work out. We felt you were unprofessional. You were having drama with other people online. Like, people don't do that.
Because your wife created that drama. She created all the drama with Natasha Cooper, and that is who it was originally causing all the problems with me, Rod. She created that. She went to Natasha. She asked her to do the things she did. She helped them find she told Natasha Cooper that I had done all these different things where I cheated on my husband, all that. Those are in text messages to me, to Natasha, and your wife admitted to doing it. Rod, I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about. And if you'd like to sit down and discuss it, I will be happy to do so with you and your lawyer only. I do not want Christy involved. I do not want your daughter involved. I will sit down with the contract. We'll go over it. We'll talk about that. And I'm willing to negotiate this with you. All I want is the truth, Rod. It's what I told you when I sat on your back porch. The good, the bad, the ugly. And I told you both that I would know if you were lying. And when I found out that your wife was lying and your daughter was lying on several things, I could no longer ethically work with you, and I cut ties. Then your wife proceeded to contact Natasha Cooper for the sole purpose of defaming and discrediting me, harassing and stalking me. We went to the FBI, and your wife was who asked us to drop the FBI case.
Okay, you're going way into too many details there.
I'm telling you the truth.
Trying to avoid all of this drama with all this online stuff.
Then Ash, Rod, I didn't talk about your family for over 5 years. I came out in December.
All right. I think we kind of went through the stuff that we needed to go through, but I appreciate you guys all being here. Again, we won't listen to this whole stream. You can find it on that channel, Flawless Nina. She's also, I believe, the TikToker who's been in the feuds with Gypsy, claiming that Ken messaged her, and they had that whole like, oh, my man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, blah, blah, blah. Just a lot of messiness. But, we'll be keeping an eye on Gypsy. We'll be watching what's going on in their divorce court and all that. Again, I think that a lot of us in chat have said, she hasn't been doing anything that has really stood out as bettering herself since being released from prison. Everything that she's kind of been doing has been for attention, has been for self-gain, very selfish behavior, very much using people, in my opinion. She did have a collaboration with Kim Kardashian and claimed that, she really wanted to work with Kim and talk more about prison reform, and that she plans to do that, and that she was disappointed that they didn't air any of that conversation that they had together about prison reform, yada, yada. Like, okay, then do something about it. Show us that you're going to do something about it, because all I saw was a meet and greet between you and Kim Kardashian. It looked like you were both kind of gaining the clout from each other. That's how I was seeing it. So we will definitely be keeping an eye out on things. This train wreck is not going away anytime soon. Again, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, exactly. Then reform. Dee aggravated and manipulated Gypsy Rose symptoms with medications. Yeah, it seems like that's how I see it. Again, I'm open to other people's perspective and perception of this case. I'm not 100% on board with everybody's, opinion, because I have my own, but I've also been able to kind of change my opinion. So I hope that kind of keeps everyone having an open mind also, because if I can change my stance on things, then, then anyone can, really. But yes, I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. We discussed going through, I think tomorrow night we're going to do a Watts deep dive, because we haven't done one in a couple weeks. And we usually do one on Thursdays. But we did discuss how the Sarah Boone trial is coming up, and we want to kind of comb through that case as like a pre-trial deep dive. So maybe go through the body camera footage, through the police interview of Sarah Boone. So stay tuned for that Friday night. We are still reading that Howard Bloom Idaho 4 book as well. And when I say reading, it's mostly us criticizing it. And we'll be going through that also. And that one is called When the Night Comes Falling. So that's also something we're kind of digging through too. So join me tomorrow for the Watts deep dive. And then we're going to start Sarah Boone deep dive. We'll get back into that Idaho 4 book. And then anything new that comes out with Gypsy we'll be following. And anything about Stephen Stearns and justice for Madeline Soto, we are definitely still following as well. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all the different opinions in chat. And I'm happy that you guys are able to listen to my different opinion if it's not the same as yours, but you still stuck around and kind of conversed with us in chat. Thank you so much. Thank you to my moderators, Johnny Kramer. Thank you. Debbie Fox, Melly, Bean Bio Girl, everyone who just participated in chat. Roxanne, of course, you're the best. Melanie, thank you for being here. Everyone, if you just hit the thumbs up, I appreciate you so much. And yeah, we will talk tomorrow night. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night, and then hopefully Friday night, and then the weekend we can decompress, and then we'll come back Monday with more true crime. So good night, everybody. Thanks so much.